Forget Tutankhamun. Forget the glittering treasures and the golden mask. We need to talk about a far more sinister story, a curse that makes King Tut's look like a child's fairy tale. This is the story of his father Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh, and the curse that guards his long-lost tomb. For over 1,000 years, Egypt worshipped a pantheon of powerful gods: Ra, the sun god; Osiris, lord of the underworld; Isis, the mother goddess. Their names were carved into every temple, their stories told to every child. Then, in the 14th century BC, a new pharaoh ascended the throne. His name was Amenhotep IV, but we know him as Akhenaten. Akhenaten didn't just want to reform Egypt's religion, he wanted to obliterate it. He declared that there was only one true god, the Aten, represented by the physical disk of the sun. He shut down the ancient temples, chiseled the names of the old gods from monuments, and moved the capital of Egypt to a new, isolated city in the desert called Amarna. He effectively erased a millennium of belief, making himself and his family the sole intermediaries between humanity and this new, singular god. Imagine the sheer audacity, the outrage this would have caused. He made enemies of the most powerful people in the land, the priests whose authority he had stolen. His reign was chaotic, revolutionary, and ultimately short-lived. After just 17 years, Akhenaten died, and almost immediately, Egypt struck back. His city was abandoned, his monuments were torn down, and his name was systematically scrubbed from history. The old gods were reinstated, and the priests regained their power. Akhenaten became the enemy, that criminal of Amarna. It was as if they were trying to curse his very memory out of existence. And this is where our mystery truly begins. Where is he buried? The tomb of a pharaoh, especially one so reviled, should have been a prime target for looters, or at least known to later generations. But Akhenaten's final resting place vanished. He built a royal tomb in the cliffs east of his city, Amarna, but scholars believe he was never actually buried there. It seems to have been desecrated shortly after his death. So, where did they put his body? Was he secretly reburied in the Valley of the Kings, the traditional necropolis of the pharaohs? Or was his body destroyed, denied a proper burial, and therefore an afterlife? The ultimate punishment for an ancient Egyptian, the search for Akhenaten's tomb has spanned over a century, a tantalizing prize for any Egyptologist. But this is a search that seems to carry a heavy price. This isn't just about digging in the sand. It's about a pattern of strange, unsettling events that have plagued those who get too close. Let's start with Arthur Weigel, a prominent Egyptologist in the early 20th century. In 1907, another archaeologist, Theodore Davis, discovered a mysterious tomb known as KV55 in the Valley of the Kings. Inside, they found a single, desecrated coffin containing the mummy of an unknown royal. Davis was convinced it wasn't Akhenaten and quickly lost interest, but Weigel was fascinated. He passionately argued that the body was that of the heretic king. Weigel dedicated years to studying Akhenaten, even writing a glowing biography of him. But his obsession seemed to invite misfortune. Soon after the discovery of KV55 and his subsequent work on it, Weigel began suffering from inexplicable fevers and bouts of illness that left doctors baffled. His health declined rapidly, forcing him into an early retirement. He died at just 54, a shadow of his former self. Coincidence, perhaps. But the story doesn't end there. Theodore Davis, the man who found KV55 but dismissed it, also met a strange end. Not long after the discovery, he was bitten by an insect in the Valley of the Kings. The bite became infected, leading to a severe case of blood poisoning that ultimately claimed his life. Two key figures connected to the potential tomb of Akhenaten, both meeting untimely, unpleasant ends. Then there's the case of the tomb itself, KV55. The coffin had been intentionally vandalized. The golden face mask was ripped off, and the cartouche, the ovals containing the king's name, were hacked out, an ancient attempt to condemn the soul to oblivion. It was an act of pure hatred. For decades, the identity of the mummy remained a fierce debate. But modern DNA analysis has finally provided an answer. The skeleton in KV55 is, with near certainty, the father of Tutankhamun. It is Akhenaten, so his body was found. But was this the end of the curse, or did it just shift its focus? Those who continued to pry into his life and legacy reported strange occurrences. Researchers working late at night in museums have spoken of feeling an unnerving presence near artifacts from Amarna. Photographers found their equipment malfunctioning only when trying to capture images of Akhenaten's distinctive elongated statues. These are, of course, anecdotes. It's easy to dismiss them as tricks of the light or the product of an overactive imagination fueled by the dark, silent halls of a museum. But what if they're not? What if the curse isn't a magical hex placed on a tomb, but something far more tangible? Akhenaten's revolution was a traumatic event for ancient Egypt. He tore the country's soul apart. When the old order was restored, the priests and the new pharaohs did everything in their power to ensure such a heresy could never happen again. They cursed his name, destroyed his monuments, and desecrated his tomb. This curse was a warning etched into history itself. It was a message from the past. Do not follow this path. Do not challenge the sacred order. Forget this man and all he stood for. By searching for his tomb, by trying to piece together his story and rehabilitate his name, are we inadvertently defying that ancient warning? Are the strange illnesses, the accidents, the feelings of unease simply history's way of pushing back? Think about it. The curse of Tutankhamun is often explained away by science's toxic mold, bacteria sealed in the tomb for millennia, but the curse of Akhenaten is different. It's not tied to a single sealed location. It seems to linger around his very identity, his story, his memory. It's a psychological curse, a weight of history that presses down on those who dare to dig too deep. Maybe the real curse isn't about booby traps or ancient magic. Maybe the curse is the revolution itself. Akhenaten unleashed an idea so powerful it nearly broke one of the world's greatest civilizations. Perhaps the accidents and misfortunes are just a grim reflection of the chaos he himself caused. By unearthing his story, we unearth the turmoil, the anger, and the deep-seated fear he instilled in his own people. We are not just disturbing a tomb, we are disturbing a trauma. The desert at dusk is a powerful place. As the sun sinks below the horizon, casting long shadows across the sand, the world of the ancient Egyptians feels incredibly close. You can almost hear the faint echoes of chanting from a forgotten temple, the whispers of priests pronouncing their damnation upon the heretic king, and you can't help but wonder if his spirit, denied a peaceful afterlife, still wanders those desolate landscapes forever bound to the revolution that defined and destroyed him. The search for Akhenaten's story is a search for a ghost, and sometimes it's best to let ghosts lie. Thank you so much for joining me on this dive into one of history's darkest mysteries. If you enjoy exploring the forgotten corners of the past, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was it a real curse, or a powerful warning from history? Until next time, stay curious.